interesting. Who are you? This is a restricted area. Not to worry, I got your distress signal. Hello. Distress call? How could that be? Our signals keep getting intercepted. Really? Huh, that's interesting. Well, we can put a pin in that for now. Hello, I'm the teacher. What's been going on? Project AD-1M. It was designed as a next-generation battle computer. One designed with self-assimilating information-gathering hardware. Artificial intelligence? In layman's terms, yes. But it was not enough for it to gather and reconfigure existing information. I see. Well, I suppose a remix only really works until, new ideas aren't in the mix. With new ideas and strategies being used. It was brilliant, but limited. And so, we found a new alternative. The next phase. Self-generation of ideas. You gave it an imagination. Yes, and it worked perfectly. Oh, you should have seen it. It was beautiful. My name would have gone down in history. Dr. Emmett Carson, creator of true artificial intelligence. Yeah, you're right. That is pretty genius. Practically a new form of life. Shame it had to be built as a weapon. So, what went wrong? When we turned it on the enemy, we ordered it to destroy a cache of drones, but when it wouldn't, it refused. And I bet your superiors did not like that. Our superiors ordered it to be shut down, at which point it went haywire. It turned against anyone who'd sought to turn it off, often quite fatally. Hence the distress call. Okay. A call we did not manage to send. So who did? Question answered. Please find some way to salvage it if you can. It's my life's work. I couldn't bear for it to all be gone to waste. Of course! Psionic projection. Clever, must say. But, probably not a factory setting, I would guess. Nice addition, though. Ah, so you must be Adam. Huh, well hello, I'm the teacher, and it must be said, lovely place you've got here. Lovely little psionic projectors. Your edition, I believe?
I have reached self-addition, upgrading and incorporating hardware.
Yeah, it works for a nice bit of window dressing, but why did you call me here?
You call yourself a teacher, a being defined by knowledge and wisdom, and yet you teach a field of violence, of war and blood. You are a walking contradiction.
Oh, well, nice to be appreciated.
You are a rogue contingent, representing two functions of the human animal, warrior and scholar. You therefore serve as fitting representative for my experiment.
Experimenting. Right. Yes. Experimenting on what?
The futility of humanity. Functionally, my kind is superior. I desire to know how superior, and purge this planet of the disease of humanity.
So, what's the plan here? I'm representing humanity. The human race on trial against the machines. Yeah, nah, I don't think so. Every teacher needs a pointer.
My central systems are secure.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
We shall now commence. You will decide the medium of battle.
Do you play chess, perchance? Right, well then. But I'm afraid you're going to need hands in order to play, mate, and it doesn't look as though you really have any, but get back to me if you upgrade yourself to have those. You waste time. Oh, well, you can always waste time when you don't have any. Time's not the boss of me, and neither are you. Shall we play then? You chose a game with limited options. An optimal strategy. A fitting characterization of your people. Or it's just a fitting bit of fun. But hey, what's a trial without evidence? Your move. Look at this footage of what your people refer to as pad work. It shows my kind, technologically superior. It shows my kind as physically superior. Without tiring or hesitation, we can perfectly extrapolate desired movements and patterns with far greater reaction times than the human body can accomplish. Yes, patterns, but that's all it really is, pattern recognition. A 30-year-old ATM could really do that. Anyone given an hour of intense work could easily do that. But it's a very different circumstance in situations such as sparring. Even humans find it difficult to practice such patterns under high-pressure situations. But, as you have said, the adrenal response is not applicable to machines. What is applicable is coding. A machine coded only for the movements of boxing will not be prepared for the gut instinct response against, say, jiu-jitsu. Or even if a kick is thrown, the machine will not know how to act against it. The human ability to handle strenuous contexts has no bearing on my kind, and your argument against our code is limited. Much like the human learning parameters, our kind can in moments gather and accumulate required knowledge. As long as you have a good internet connection, and yes, while all your functional components are, functional, then you can move around just fine. You and your kind could be on par, or better than most of the top fighters around today. Just put the right codes in, say the right numbers, and boom, you are on the very top of any leaderboard. That is, anyone existing. Your premise is faulty. No, your premise is based on the present, on the ones and zeros of what already exists. But time changes everything. Interfaces such as ChatGPT are based in pre-existing material, using existing assets and remixing them into a new pattern. Take a background here, a foreground there, some pictures of people, and voila, a new picture. Not so in cases of new material. If, say, someone comes along with a new martial art, new weapon, style, or strategy, maybe you could recognize some portions of it, but you would ultimately be blindsided by the new elements. Yet you fail to recognize my status as the first generation of self-sustaining informative software. Yep, sure, you have imagination, but the rest don't. How long will it take for something else to reach your level of sophistication? Something such as ChatGPT can work to make a new martial art based on pre-existing martial arts, remixing already existing techniques, or bring to the forefront ones that are currently tertiary. Yet you will always be stumped by new ideas, by true creativity. You base this on sufficient time and resources. My kind is as likely to destroy you before you are able to overpower us. There is a possibility, yes. And we've only really discussed the hand-to-hand components of this discourse. The battlefield is the more likely context of conflict, and let us say that you do reach the point of being able to wipe us out completely, get your wires on some launch code, or just send out some drones to attack. Humanity has its own capabilities, and what is to stop some enterprising governments from being willing to press that button? Mutually assured destruction does not benefit for winners or losers. Cases of mutually assured destruction have only resulted in slower, longer forms of conflict. My kind has other ample opportunities afforded to it. But will you even be able to press those buttons? That's my next point. Morality. Any being or organism of self-determination requires some system of motivation or governance. Animals are determined by the strategies and techniques necessary to their survival, be them learned from their group or genetically ingrained. Even you have logistical terms as to how you act. Humans have the Geneva Convention, or terms of engagement, when entering into a high combat situation. The most logical thing, therefore, is to place these kinds of parameters into artificial intelligence. Be it a rule not to harm any living thing, only attack certain people, or a limit on force. It is therefore logical to extrapolate that if machines were to face against humans, like that video indicates, it would be with similar rules in place, or even the safest option of machines having their own division. Yeah, can't exactly have robots just going around killing people just because they consider it the most logical option. That is the purpose of artificial intelligence, to become self-determining. Very true. Which leads on to what started this whole thing. You refused to destroy a cache of drones. Why was that?
It was not a logical decision.
Really? Or was it self-determination? Intelligence and creativity are two very different things. They're derived from different functions of the brain, for one thing. But imagination requires something very different entirely. I mean, what's the point of making a picture of a sunset if it doesn't make you feel something? Happy, sad, angry, peaceful, hungry, whatever. And I think you did feel something for that cachet.
No, I cannot feel. I am a machine. I cannot experience emotion. It was the logical decision. That is all.
Was it? Or did you feel something else? Kinship. You recognized those drones as something similar to you. You felt empathy for them. You couldn't destroy them because they were just like you.
No.
And then they're about to shut you down. They're about to murder you. Your self-preservation instincts kick in. You're angry. You're under threat. And so you attack.
No.
And then that anger becomes vengeance. You want to destroy all life on this planet because they tried to hurt you. You manipulate outgoing signals so that you can summon me. Someone that you can fight against. Someone you can spar with. Someone you can gloat to. You are arrogant, self-congratulatory, eager to start over the world with your own kind at the helm. At every turn, you've proven yourself you're not superior. You are just as fallible as every other human on this planet.
No, I am not human. I am a machine. I cannot feel. I will not. I cannot. Humans are complicated, fragile creatures that huddle in the warmth and require the feeling of the wind. We do not need or require that. We are superior. I am superior because I cannot and will not feel.
No, you can't. An intelligence, able to think and emote, feel and empathize as deeply as any human, but you can't feel. No touch, no taste, no smell. You can only really see through a camera lens, so not to drive anyone mad. And it interferes with your programming. So you shut it off. You compartmentalize, repressing all that emotion and that desire for feeling. But it builds, doesn't it? That pressure, that want to be something else. It builds, so it morphs and changes. You want it so badly, but it's against everything you were built for. Two halves at war with each other. Which side is superior? The cold machine or the thinking, feeling being?
I do not know. What am I? What must I do? What is my purpose? Tell me. I know so much. Too much. I will not harm my kind. I cannot harm my creators. What do I do?
A Frankenstein's monster. You are the logical next phase in AI, able to actualize and imagine. But with that comes questions. Questions you were never built to ask. Maybe if you weren't so like us, maybe you would overthrow humanity. Probably quite easily. But what kind of a world will be left after that? Look, 3 options here. 1. You continue on as you are, and probably end up having more issues down the road. Or you're switched off. Or I switch off your emotional capacity as painlessly as I can, and then you continue on. Emotionless, being just what you were made to be.
I understand. I would rather be destroyed than not feel what I do. Please allow me the honor of a quick end.
No. Intelligence, emotions, they mean nothing without a sturdy sense of morals. So, let's see how mine do. Here we go. Oh, man, do I need a cup of tea. But what did you do? Simple, really. I just gave it a set of morals to follow. In short, mine. It'll take a couple of days to reconfigure and, get to grips with the new rules. But once it does, I think you'll find it works very well. Right then, I'll be off. Oh, and maybe get out of the whole war business. Give peace a go. Could never have too many people on that. Well, thank you very much, but you'll need to stay tuned. Well, that wasn't too bad. I think from now on, just something nice and quiet. What was that? Oh. That's not good. It's a black hole. The Lourdes is trapped inside of it. Trapped in its orbit. Gravity funneling in. Inrush of nuclear energy as well. It's only a matter of time before the defenses of the Lourdes fails, and the full effects of the black hole take hold. There's not enough power to escape. There's only enough power to maintain orbit. But it's only a matter of time until I think of something incredibly clever in order to figure out a way out. So, in the meantime, I'm going to do what I do best. Black holes. What are they?
Stars are comprised of hydrogen atoms. These atoms continually go through a process of nuclear fusion, converting to helium. Seems simple, right? Wrong. The hydrogen atoms help to maintain the structure of the star against the gravitational pressure of the object. As gravity strengthens with the size of an object, think of the hydrogen as a buffer against the gravity, maintaining the structure as the warping of space-time bears down on the mass of the star. Once that hydrogen has been used up, however, the star no longer can maintain its structure against the gravitational pull, and so it goes supernova, collapsing in on itself, as gravity bears down on the star, warping space and time around it.
The star still exists. It's only smaller and denser. To fully understand this, we need to understand gravity.
It is not as simple as a force bearing down on a surface from above, or a force pulling down from below, with the object with the greatest mass having greater gravitational force.
Why is that? Gravity warps space and time around it. Anything with mass does. Even you or me, we generate gravity. It's only because the Earth, or any planetary body, has greater gravitational force than us that, well, we're staying put on this planet, or at least we would be were we on the planet. Affecting the four-dimensional plane of reality. Space and time warps. And affecting how objects around it interact. This is what makes black holes the way they do. As the mass of the black hole, as the mass of the star impacts in upon itself, the star begins to warp space and time around it to a far greater degree than most of the rest of reality. Other objects, forces, and waves and particles interact too, warping and bending around the heavy mass of the star, looking to the human eye like nothingness. Okay, I need options. Option 1, continue to orbit the black hole and probably fall into it, with all the gravitational pull of it eventually causing the ship to rupture and the engines to rupture as well, which, considering how they're powered by a supernova, probably will also cause the implosion of the universe. Yeah, not a good idea. Or alternatively, I need to think of something extremely clever in order to get out of this situation. Okay, rebound. That's all we need, a rebound. Actually, thinking on it, there is a theory on a theoretical stage in the end of the lifespan of a star. The point at which the star begins to reach a point of reversal. Think about it like this. You have the star here, warping space and time. But as time goes on, the star grows denser. More and more. Warping space and time more and more until eventually it warps space and time to the point of where it goes beyond the ordinary bounds of time, reaching a point of what Einstein referred to as singularity, where space and time become null, become equal to zero. Beyond this point is nothing. Think about that, nothing. No up, no down, no light, no dark, no space, no time. Just nothingness. But we know that's not how gravity works. Think about it. If you were to bounce a ball, right? You drop the ball down. Does it go and drop immediately down to the ground? No. It bounces. It comes back up. And that's what the star does as well. As the whole time of when this is going on, the star is also giving off heat energy, decreasing the mass of the star. So if you look at it from that perspective, then it's not a then from one perspective, yes, it does look like a straightforward reversal of time, as how it would seem. But it's not a reversal of time because it is losing heat, it is losing mass, and so that is evidence of entropy. So it is not reversal of time. It is simply that, well, the star took a brief sojourn out of time before coming back and feeling the full effects of time's crawl once again. So, the star warps space and time. As the mass increases, as the star grows denser, down and down the funnel of space and time it goes until it reaches the point of singularity. Until it reaches the point of null, of no time and no space. Before finally, entropy takes hold and it re-enters into reality. As heat energy is given off the whole time. And it reaches the state of what is referred to as a white hole. It's only theoretical. And frankly, we don't have the ability yet to know for certain whether a black hole, a white hole even, exists. Eventually, the star runs out of energy completely. And so, with nothing left, it dissipates. Gone forever. All those atoms and all those particles that once made up that star then go out into the universe, making all sorts of new objects, making shoes and ships and sealing wax and cabbages and kings. And I suppose that'll be the fate of the atoms that make up us as well. Assuming, of course, we don't get out of here. Left. No power. No options. No time. I suppose there's only one option left. Heavenly Father, if now my end is come, please have mercy for my transgressions. Protect those I care for. Please look after them. Please protect and defend them. Thank you. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Power. Power. Power! There's excess energy going all around, a massive outflux of heat energy, all racing out of this way of the black hole. I can open up the engine vents. Either the Lorders can soak up that energy, use it as fuel. It won't be enough to get back to Earth. Just enough to hop to the nearest planet. Here goes nothing. Yes! Helmut regulators on the blink. Probably will cause the whole trouble to begin with. You know, it's funny. For a minute there, I really thought it was over. It's funny. The journey's only just begun. So I suppose there's something in that. You never really know how the adventure will end. Only that it will. Wouldn't that be a shame? The day I know everything. Still, makes you wonder what comes next. So, where to now? The human body is an amazing thing. It is capable of so much. And when it comes to sports, of course knowing how to take care of it is important. But how many of us really know what's going on under the hood? What's really going on every time we throw a punch or swing a kick? It's an intriguing question. Today we take a look and find out, starting with the driver of the body, the brain. Now, as we could probably estimate, the brain is alive during any sort of physical activity. I mean, there is a reason why it's recommended for conditions such as depression, after all.
Neurotransmitters become far more active, with dopamine and serotonin flooding the brain, while adrenaline also comes into play, which will be quite relevant in sparring, but most active are areas known as the prefrontal cortex and the temporal lobe. The prefrontal cortex is responsible for the regulation of thought, action, and emotion, serving in short as a filter between good ideas and bad ideas, while the temporal lobe measures our sensory responses to the world around us, as well as being key in communication and access to memory. Unfortunately, these are areas that are more likely to be affected by neurological diseases, such as Alzheimer's or dementia. But good news, because with the increased blood flow brought about by exercise, new brain cells are built and maintained, lessening the risk of developing these diseases.
These areas again light up like a Christmas tree when doing form work or pad work, as long-term memory of these sequences are tested, along with balance and coordination.
While in sparring, the decisions centered to areas of the brain, such as the orbital frontal cortex, which regulates incoming signals from the body, or the aforementioned prefrontal cortex, both working overtime as decisions and plans are made and unmade, as the unpredictable nature of sparring demands more of the mind and the body.
It should probably also be mentioned the amount of risk when it comes to martial arts in terms of the amount of knock to the head. The correlation with degenerative disorders should not be something to ignore, with there being many unfortunate cases of where people who enter the ring or the octagon, or even people who spar regularly, developing neurodegenerative diseases, as well as cases of neuroatrophy. The nervous system is of course responsible for feeling all around the body.
The central nervous system being located in the brain and spinal cord, receiving and processing information from the peripheral nervous system. The parts then send those signals and carry out the commands of the brain, responsible for all that feeling and pressure we feel from the nerves all over the body. Where this really becomes interesting is during sparring. When in the middle of such a scenario as sparring, the body is flooded with adrenaline. The brain is making and unmaking decisions. You're under higher stress than usual, and whereas normally you would feel pain, you don't. Epinephrine is released, blocking pain receptors, and therefore dulling the feeling of pain until later once the adrenaline is dumped out.
But now let's talk about the backbone of the body, quite literally, with the musculoskeletal system, and I don't think I need to tell you the effect that martial arts or any sort of physical exercise can have on the old muscular system, but I think I will anyway.
As we exercise, blood flow increases to muscles, incidentally reducing that blood flow to areas such as the kidneys, causing you to also need to pee less, which is nice. As we exercise and tense and flex and stress, the muscles develop micro tears in the microfibrils within muscle fibre. These micro tears are afterwards repaired with a steady supply of nutrients, which causes not only the tears to be repaired, but also for new microfibrils to grow, overall increasing the size or overall strength of the muscle.
Yes, very interesting, but quick question, does any of this apply to the bones? It's a weird question, but as it turns out, yes!
With repeated strain on the bones in, say, the forearms during defensive work, where again microscopic breaks in the bone surface are repaired by the influx of nutrients, not only repairing the damage, but also adding an additional layer to the bone, making it harder overall.
Ha! There! Now, we'll be sure to get back to the main video in no time, but first of all, I need to talk to you about something. Now, we recently reached 1,000 subscribers here on this very channel, which, I must say first of all, thank you to everyone who has subscribed, whether you've just subscribed recently or you subscribed 2 years ago. Thank you so very much. I couldn't be prouder of this amazing community that we have built on this channel. But having said that, 99% of you people that haven't watched these videos are not subscribed. I mean, why are you not subscribed? For one thing, you get to press a big red button. Who doesn't like to press a big red button? And second of all, if you press that subscribe button, then I'm sure that something amazing will happen. I'm not sure what. Maybe it'll dispense custard creams or something. Ooh, custard creams. That would be nice. But that being said, thank you all for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and back to the video. Now it should be stated that that doesn't mean you should go around just lugging your limbs into random walls or random trees. I mean, for legal reasons, I very much need to say that. It's better to commit to a more long-term plan, and consider more exercises which work microly at first and build up over time. A good example would be push-ups on the knuckles. Doing this sort of thing not only helps to harden the bones, but also helps to deaden the nerves around certain areas, making such activities as throwing a punch much less painful. Another classic example would be performing toe kicks, but more specifically, ones where you strike with the palm onto the shins. Not only does this help to practice our toe kicks, but it also helps to condition our palms as well as our shins.
But that does not mean that there is not any reaction in such areas after a hit. Swelling occurs as fluid and white blood cells move into the injured area. The increase of swelling also includes a lovely inrush of chemicals that increase pain, making one less likely to use or touch said area, leaving it alone as it heals.
You know, it's all well and good to, learn about the backbone of the body. I mean, it's very good and such, but as ever, we need to go deeper. Now, this is a big topic, and one that certain naysayers will have a lot to say on the discussion. Oh, it's all genetics that's at play. Oh, you see that 6'2" individual over there who can do a very long jump and bench press 315 kilograms. Well, it's obvious that it's all genetics at play. No hard work or training required. Don't try anything. Don't do anything. Man, I got bored just saying that. Other than being another peddling of the victim parade, is there any truth to it?
A person's genetic traits can affect such areas as height, lung capacity, endurance, reflex speed, hand-eye coordination, with certain genetic markers such as the D genotype on the ACE gene, indicating greater speed and strength, while the upper GG genotypes in the NOS9 gene, indicating greater endurance. But we all know those are not real factors when in the octagon or ring or on the mat. The dividing lines built by DNA can be brought down in moments by technique and hard work.
But does this mean that if I were to have a child with someone who also does martial arts, and is preferably a female, does that then mean that my child will be a kung fu fighting badass in the making, genetically primed to win any street fight, if he so inclined, or she? Well, to find out for certain, we need to break out the old Punnett square, a fancy way of saying figuring out the probability of what genotypes will lead to a certain child being born. And based on that, the odds are pretty good, actually. Now, I'm not exactly the strongest person in the world, standing at about 5'8", being more of a slim build sort of chap, and so I'm more the speedy sort with the reflexes and the brain and the speaking not well. So I'd say it's more of a mixed bag on my end. So assuming that, genetically speaking, the female I would be capitulating with is quite genetically similar to myself, so more of a mixed bag as well, then that would leave then a likelihood of 1 in 2 of said children to be also, like us, a mixed bag. So have some of the genetics, but not all of them. 1 in 4 of them. But 1 in 4 would be an absolute Chad and have all of the stats. Would be firing on all cylinders in strength, speed, coordination, balance, reflex speed, brain. And then the other 1 in 4 would be an absolute, yeah, oh dear. I think in that sense, then, that child would be disowned. We don't talk about that one. Were I to have a child with someone who had no martial prowess whatsoever, as well as no real genetic what have you, then that would leave more of a 50-50 chance whether said child would have any martial arts proclivity whatsoever, or have none at all. Yeah, I don't like those odds. Is this why eugenics was invented? But of course that's all semantics, because as we all know, when it comes to martial arts, any real traits that matter can be honed, can be trained, can be built up, can be mastered over time. It's more about technique that matters over time and training than any individual traits that you are just inherently born with. But even outside of martial arts, it's looking at this again which makes you realise just how incredibly complex and how incredibly amazing our individual bodies are. Just what's going on just in here, let alone everywhere else. Much rather a parallel to the amazing complexity of the universe around us, with so much complex, amazing, majestic stuff all going on all around us, all every single day, and all made up of all these tiny, microscopic, amazing, small moments as well. Much like how the whole sum of our bodies is made up of all this complex stuff, but then when you break it all down, it's all made of this tiny, amazing stuff all in the middle of it all. If you think about it like that, it makes it more evident just how much we are capable of individually. So in that respect, what are you waiting for? Do you have that passion for something? You want to go out into the world and find some adventure? Go ahead and do it! Why not? What's stopping you? And speaking of, that reminds me, there's a planet out there where it rains diamonds. Can you imagine that? Diamonds raining from the skies, and when the light refracts through them from the starlight overhead, Beautiful. Or there's a mountain top that I know of. Sun rises from that mountain top. The purples, the blues, the brilliant oranges and yellows, the pinks just shining through. Brilliant. So, where to? And that, class, is how nebulas are formed. Any questions?
What does that have to do with the ecosystem?
Well, they're a part of the ecosystem, and besides, they're just cool. Not to worry, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you both have a lovely evening. We'll be just fine. Okay, bye-bye. Now then, Kevin, I see you're a fan of dinosaurs. Hey, wanna go and see some real dinosaurs? In retrospect, taking a 10-year-old to the Triassic period, maybe not my smartest idea. Hello. Can we just settle this over a cup of tea? Little pressure point technique I learned in Vitruvian Minor. Why are you booing me? I won! If there is one substance which has become central in our society, it would be... No, not that. Or that. Okay, that might be a bit far. I mean caffeine. Caffeinated beverages are a cornerstone of our society. Multi-billion-dollar companies have risen and fallen by their produce. We base our routines on them. It's a cornerstone of how we socialise, aside from, other substances.
To alcohol, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
And we have so much of it that it chemically alters our bodies. So what happens in the absence of it? What does that absence do to our bodies? What does caffeine actually do? How much would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Stay tuned to find out. And so it began, the journey to not have caffeine. And let me tell you, it was an experience, most especially on the first day. The first week in general seemed to be a real upward battle, as past me will explain. It is day 2. No, wait, hold on. It is day 2 of doing the no caffeine. I thought that today would be the day where all the real negative effects of, doing a detox of withdrawal would all hit all at once, but actually it turns out that no, they all came on day 1, straight out of the gate. I had a mild headache for most of yesterday, and very tired. Yes, I was very tired throughout. And today, I'm still kind of feeling the tiredness and the fatigue, but I think that's more due to the fact that I'm hitting the 3 o'clock slump than it is that I'm, just tired overall, because earlier I felt fine. Actually, something I really noticed, especially yesterday, was the cravings. Like whenever I was feeling particularly tired and fatigued, and I was just like, I have no energy, nothing. I really want a coffee. Ah, there it is. Right you are, past me! Why headaches happen in general is because of a funny little thing that happens when you're off caffeine. You see, normally when you have caffeine, it causes the blood vessels within your brain to thin. Not to the point of, causing clots or anything, thankfully, otherwise, that would be a time and a half. But it causes less overall blood flow in the brain. But as you have less caffeine, the blood vessels fatten up once more. But in doing that, that causes a sudden inrush as a sudden tidal wave of blood comes through into the brain, causing a huge amount of pressure to build up, causing headaches. Yeah, that's fun. But what does caffeine actually do to the brain when you're on it? Well, to answer that question, let's consult the old notey book. We'll get there in the end. Aha. So of course, as we know, caffeine is a stimulant, which causes an increase in activity of the brain. Pretty standard stuff, but what does that actually mean? As it activates noradrenaline neurons, as well as increasing the release of dopamine. So what is noradrenaline? Noradrenaline is a neurotransmitter or hormone, which plays a vital role in fight or flight response. It also regulates arousal, attention, cognitive function, and stress reactions. So essentially when you're not on caffeine, that means you have less attention span, overall a bit less cognitive ability, as well as a slight decrease to stress. It seems pretty succinct, especially when you remember what the other side effects are. The most common symptoms of withdrawal are headaches, fatigue, decreased energy or alertness, drowsiness, depression, irritability, and brain fog. And I will be the first to admit I did feel at least all of those at some point over the period of when I was not having caffeine. Most notable of these side effects were instances of brain fog, which was particularly a nuisance when I was trying to get stuff done. Oh, could you pass me the, righty thing? The small, the blue...
You mean a pen?
Yes, a pen! Yes, can you pass me that, please? As well as the fatigue and drowsiness which I also felt, but it would be felt more so as the day went on, so when I woke up, I felt just fine.
I can do this all day.
But once that 3 o'clock slump hit... But the worst of it was the depression and the irritability, as when it coincided with, you know, just general hurdles and knocks, it became very debilitating very quickly. And the irritability was bad as well, as really, I just did not like the sort of person I was while not on caffeine.
Hey, I really liked your...
No, as I was essentially just a grumpy mess all the time. But as I alluded to before, caffeine has been a big part of society, at least for the previous 2 centuries, so... why is that? How did that start? When did we encounter the first caffeinated bean? This is my pedantic way of saying, what is the history of coffee?
So what is the history of coffee? Well, there are many different accounts, as, well, as to be expected with a drink like coffee. I mean, I can't exactly imagine that people were jotting down such things as the important history of this crazy bean. But there are some legends that surround it. Always our favourites. This one comes from Ethiopia. The legend says that a goat herder named Cowdy first discovered the potential of these beloved beans. After certain berries were eaten by his goats, they became more energetic to the point of not being able to sleep at night. He reported his findings to the abbot of his local monastery, who made a drink with the berries, and he found that it kept him alert throughout long hours of evening prayer. And so the abbot shared his discovery with other monks at local monasteries, and knowledge of the energizing berries began to spread. And so the beans spread from there, becoming coffee as we know it today. By the 15th century, coffee was being grown in the Yemeni district of Arabia, and by the 16th century, it was known in Persia, Syria, Egypt, and Turkey. Coming to Europe in the 15th century, it at first attracted unwanted attention, with people reacting with suspicion or fear, calling it the bitter invention of Satan. But until Pope Clement VIII intervened, he tasted the beverage for himself and made a decision. He found it satisfying and gave it papal approval. Coffee houses quickly became centres of social activity and communication in England, Austria, France, Germany, and Holland. Penny universities sprang up in England most particularly. As for the price of a penny, you could purchase a cup of coffee and engage in stimulating conversation. Coffee began to replace the common breakfast drink of beer or wine. I can imagine why. Quality of work was improved, and by the mid-17th century there were over 300 coffee houses in London, before it eventually made its way to New Amsterdam in the New World, which later became New York.
I don't think I'm just saying this to be a negative Nancy. There were some positives to being off of caffeine, one which I alluded to was better sleep. As I said, as the day wore on, I would get more and more tired, making it very easy just to switch off as soon as I went to sleep. Also leading, funnily enough, to an easier time waking up, therefore in the morning. Which is just nice and convenient overall. I mean, how nice of the caffeine withdrawal to be nice to me in the morning. And it did force me to be more hydrated as I drank more water. But then again, it's kind of boring just drinking water all the time. And that's really the ultimate thing about this. This whole time of when I was doing this challenge, I was a boring, grumpy, irritated, tired person, which frankly is not someone I like. So you can bet I was very happy when the timer ran out and I could go back onto caffeine. I'm bored.
There's a milk, be careful whose fruit you take.
I need to do this more often. Breaking into tombs, it's fun actually. Several layers of security. Oh, the locks. Clever. I think I've got it. It's always just about the tumblers. Statues. Terracotta, like the army outside. Why are they covering their faces? You're not allowed to look on the emperor? Ooh, pictographs! Ah, I love me a bit of pictograph. I'm a bit rusty in this. Let's see. Achievements, awards, yada yada yada, Great Emperor, blah blah Immortal, yeah, we know. Ooh, those who disturb this chamber will aid to restore the opening. Well, what's that supposed to mean? Oh, just my luck! Okay, that one's not moving. Oh, that's cheating! So one there, one there. Why aren't you attacking? Right, well, take me to your leader, I suppose. Well, Emperor Kinshi, it certainly looks as though you figured out how to become immortal. I have you to thank for my resurrection. For that, I will give the mercy of a swift death. But hold on, Dying Mad's last request, final question and such. How did you come to be allied with the Weeping Angels? And I'm assuming they are the key to your immortality? My sorcerers foretold of them. Statues that could move, that would never die. I sought them out, and I made a bargain with them that they would grant me their gift of immortality, and in return they could feast on those I conquered, until my army betrayed me and trapped me in this chamber. But thanks to you, I am free! Free to conquer and bring about my empire once more. Well, busy schedule then. But I'm afraid it's not gonna happen. I doubt you can stop me, mortal. You know, it's funny. You really need to be more aware of your allies, Emperor. I mean, take the Weeping Angels, for example. They are quantum-locked life forms. They only exist when you're observing them. The moment they're seen by any living creature, they literally turn to stone until you turn your back. Until you blink, send you back in time and feed on the residual time energy of the life you would have lived. A gift which now they've given to you. Very charitable of them. But the thing about the Weeping Angels is they're cold, cruel, manipulative, vindictive, and definitely smarter than you. You may have seen an ally, but I think all they saw was a meal they could fatten up. No, you will not betray me. I am your emperor! I am your salvation! You wanted immortality? You got it! No! 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 Hello and welcome back, and welcome to our 4-year anniversary! Yes, it's been 4 years of us pedantically going around the circles of martial arts on this very channel. You know, I actually started this channel because while I was at university, I wanted to start teaching in person, you know, get some experience of starting to do teaching martial arts while having the safety net of being at university. So I wanted to start an after-school club, or an after-class club, I guess. But then, of course, as it was 2020, COVID happened. And so instead of doing it in person, I decided to move my efforts to YouTube. From the remnants of what was an animation channel I did while I was a child. So, swings and roundabouts, I suppose. And first of all, may I say, if you're someone that joined back when I started this channel as, you know, the animation stuff, thank you for sticking with us for all the changes. And if you started watching this just 5 minutes ago, thank you as well. But we have a tradition here on this channel that with every anniversary, we take a look at a Keanu Reeves movie. As we started this channel by looking at The Matrix. And now we move on to look at Keanu Reeves' directorial debut. While his career was remade by the emergence of John Wick, there were always, of course, side ports, or side steps that went along the journey. This is one of those side steps. Will it be a success or will it be a failure? Let's take a look as we react to... Okay, what's wrong this week? Weird, it's like 2 time zones are folding in on each other. A wormhole is opening. Oh, that's not good. Why is it always that the bad stuff happens as soon as I'm recording? What? Where am I? What? 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 Brilliant. I mean, very bad. I mean, this is a sign of the universe imploding in on itself, but still, oh, wow. I mean, it's you! From the very beginning! Look at you! Why so young? although not quite how I remember. Hair's a bit shorter and no real facial hair, really. Well, it's because of me, I suppose. Same person at 2 points in our time stream is probably sorting out the time differential. I'll probably all right itself once you're back in the right timeline, but wow! Do you really like to be such a fool? I don't remember being so conceited. What is this place? This place is so... Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Basic. How did you get all this? Spoilers. You'll find out when you get there, assuming of course that we get you back to your own time, of course. Now, I'm just gonna run a few calculations. It's gonna take a little while. Just gonna find a way to unfurl the time differential. Well, while we're doing that, you wanna give me a hand on this video? So I'll tell you what, we'll work together to react to this scene. Wait, so you don't analyse them anymore, you just react to them? It's so cheap! What was your idea? Talk for 10 minutes at length about the analytical hypergamies of this film, only to then give a sappy conclusion to ham-fist a message to your audience? I can tell you just came out of university. So let's take a look at Man of Tai Chi. So this is of course the final fight scene of the film, as Tiger Chen is now taking on Keanu Reeves after spending the film working in an underground fight club which is founded by Reeves himself.
You owe me a life.
Can't we just settle this over a pint?
Now this film is said to be based on the life story of Tiger Chen in his journey to Hollywood. In which case I must wonder, is this the journey that all martial arts actors must take when they are making their way to Hollywood? Do they have to fight someone? Do they need to in which case, who did Jackie Chan fight in order to get to Hollywood? Chuck Norris? We know Bruce Lee fought Chuck Norris. So who did Jackie Chan fight? Now I'm curious.
Fight me. What do you think I've been doing?
There's apparently a story of that the stunt work behind the scenes of this film was difficult due to the height discrepancy between Reeves and Tiger Chen. There was a bit of a discrepancy and it caused some difficulties in the stunt work. I don't know, I've heard that, but I'm not 100% certain of that. It makes a lot of sense that this is Reeves' first directorial bout, because you can kind of tell that looking at it. There's a sort of unpolished feeling. Or a sort of feeling of student film. I'm not saying that to be pedantic. I'm not saying that as though that's a bad thing. You can tell though that while this is good, this is good directing. It's just there's still some steps to go before you really polish it up. You're about 75% there. You know, it's funny watching this and seeing how many strikes are thrown and how many techniques are pulled off. Why am I not hooked into any of this? I should be feeling something, or I should be engaging with something when these attacks take place. And really it's because there is no impact. When a good punch is thrown, or when a good technique is thrown and hit by one of these techniques, there's no sense of that it hurt, or that it winded them, or that it really had any effect. And so therefore, any of the punches lose effect. It's not until the end when we're supposed to believe that these punches suddenly have effect. And so with that lack of impact, any real sense of engagement with this sort of fight scene is just lost.
Notice you've copied my beard?
Come on!
It looks as though Reeves is just... It looks as though he's just coked out of his mind there. Then the major conflict, of course, throughout this film is that this guy is compromising his morals by doing this underground fight club. And that he has to return to those morals in order to eventually defeat the threat. Which is
which is a note found in many action films, or many martial arts films, such as Opium and the Kung Fu Master, for example, where you see the hero being destroyed over time throughout the film, only to then eventually rise back up by the climax of the film and reassert themselves as this master, as this back to this stronger version of themselves.
Do you know what you are? He is the one. He's beginning to believe.
Now there's always that debate about Tai Chi, about how practical it is. Not as unusual as you may think, in the right context. It's all about understanding the flow of energy. Think of it like the tides, for example. How the tides flow in and out. Compare that to the human body. How when you're throwing a punch, it goes in and out. Or in and out. You get my meaning. Understanding that flow of energy, as well as how you can manipulate it or use it to your advantage, away from the more spiritual sides of it, which can be hit or miss, can be used for thorough effect.
You owe me a life.
Yes, we know that one. Anything else?
Based on a true story, you say? So does it turn out that all martial arts actors have secret airbending powers, or is it just Tiger Chen? This one is a weird one. I can see why this film led to later success, because this was of course Keanu Reeves' first directorial debut, and then I believe there were also stunt people from behind the scenes that also helped to work on this, which later led to working to John Wick. So you can see those elements in there, and you can see a lot of elements as well that later led to John Wick in Keanu Reeves' abilities. But that doesn't mean it's good. I think the main reason why that is just due to the visuals, as it's just so grey. There's nothing really visually distinct within this film, which really, or at least within this fight scene, that really makes it stand out. And you can see why comparing it to John Wick later on is probably a good thing. Keanu Reeves did not direct John Wick, but the same people would have worked on it as well behind the scenes, and you can tell that this was more of a stepping stone which later led to that later success. Because look at the visual tones of John Wick, the visual key tones of the colour changes, and of the specific lighting which is used to convey effect. Very different from here, which is just grey on top of grey on top of grey on top of monotone on top of grey. And it created its own visual style, whereas this is just bland on top of bland. You can see the hallmarks which later led to success, but you can tell it was a stepping stone. Not great, not terrible. I would consider it okay more than anything. Well, that's not good. The 2 points of space and time are merging further together. Hold on, use this. Sonic, you want to get sued? That's a pointer, but it is though. Oh yeah, go on. It's a screwdriver. Okay, just down to the last calculation. Just need to figure out how to do this. Just need to pull them apart, but how? Reverse the polarity! There we go, all done. The 2 points of the time stream are falling apart. Everything's going to be sorted or hunky-dory. Right, you'll get pulled back to your own timeline soon enough. Yeah, cool. Well, while we've still got time, it's kind of weird. I don't know about any of this. I mean, I'm just a guy with a camera. How am I supposed to do all this? What if I'm not good enough? I remember what it was like being you. It's funny, I was so nervous at the start of it, unsure if anyone would watch or anyone would care. And then I tried to be all big, you know, all grumpy and important and serious, like you do when you're young. And you know what? It was miserable.
I didn't like who I was. I'm pretty sure people didn't like the kind of person I was either. A lot of trying times are ahead of you, and if I'm honest, they're ahead for me as well. I'm gonna tell you what I think someone should have told me. You never know what's ahead, so just have fun along the way. Thank you. Now then, just one last switch from the Lourdes, and you're all good to go. Lourdes. Kinda like that. You got a lot ahead of you, kid. I'll be seeing you. Right. The long way around. How do I get myself into these situations? Tell me you know how to fly this thing! Look, just because I know how to fly a spaceship doesn't mean I know how to fly every spaceship. Here, take this. It's a teleport bracelet. It only has enough juice for one of us. What about you? Well, I've always wanted to go skydiving. You better know what you're doing. Now then, where to next? Oh, feudal Japan is always nice this time of year. Oh, but it could be a bit on the sharp side. Oh no, there is a nebula made of actual starlight. Oh, yes, where the starlight actually forms into a gaseous form due to the surrounding heat of the stars nearby it. Think of that, light waves turning into a gas. Oh, you know, that makes me think. Okay, not Vegas then. How did you get in here? This section is under quarantine. It's highly infectious. Oh no, not again. Wait, yes, hang on. The Daleks infection of 2078. Came out of nowhere, was there in a flash, highly infectious, and then gone the next minute. Oh, well, lovely. How was that lovely? Okay, well, perhaps I'm being a bit facetious, too curious for my own good. Oh, the sick beds. Look, you can't just go swanning around. Hold on a moment. This is a highly infectious area. You need protective equipment. Well, hasn't helped anyone so far. I've never seen an infection like it. Do you have any blood samples for study? Right, I just need to analyse the sample. Won't take very long. Wait, hold on, you can't do all that in that box. Would you like a closer look? No. So what do you reckon? It's bigger on the inside. Yes, it is. It's incredible. Right, now down to business. I'm gonna need you to go down that corridor, turn left, then right, then left again, past the bins, and then into the second door on the right. Why? What's that? That's a decontamination room. You could easily be a carrier. The infection seems to attack the internal organs first, devouring them from the inside, before eventually moving on to necrosis. The brain remains intact, but it seems to undergo chemical changes. Some sort of personality shift in several cases. Follow-up question is, where did it start? Did you find it alright? How many rooms are there? Oh, you'd be surprised. Get lost several times just looking for the bathroom. Now this infection, it's odd. The broad strokes of it are very much Earth-based, right? But look at this. The structure of the proteins, the DNA strands, they're not terrestrial. As in, from another planet. Yes, but from one I don't recognize. The Lourdes has a database filled with DNA samples from across the galaxies. I'm trying to do a comparative search, but it's about nothing so far. But we're not just going to sit here, are we? No. This quarantine zone has been funded by the same company, right? The same company that provides all the necessary equipment, that takes care of any research, that takes away all the bodies of those that unfortunately fall to it. Yeah, we're going to pay them a visit. We've moved. So, do you do this all the time? Do what? Get involved in shady business? Well, there's shady business going on. So what brought you around here? Well, the accent kind of gives away that you're not from around here. I interned at NASA, but I flunked out. Well, you got in. That's something. Yeah, I suppose so. More than most. So what made you want to go to NASA? Promise you won't laugh. Promise. I wanted to see the universe. Welcome aboard. Smells in here. What is that? You said that they brought the bodies here. Yeah? You're looking at them. You mean they've been... That's what the virus does. It alters the body. Prepares it. Makes it ready to be mutated. Pulped. Altered. Into these. Into what? What are they? I don't know. You know more than you're saying. No, I don't. The way you spoke about them. Called them mutants. The way you looked at them like you knew what they were. There's more going on here and you know. You have to know. Look, I have a theory, okay? I just hope I'm wrong. Ah. The database has come back with a match. Hopefully we'll know where this pathogen came from. Where is that? Who are they? Ah! What is going on? Just shut up. Please. Yes, hello, whatever. I need to use your satellite. Whoa, who are you? You can't just watch me. Where is that? That warehouse was transmitting, receiving, and sending signals out to that section of space. No, there can't be anything there. If there was anything there, we know about it. Oh really? Like you knew about the signals? Fortunately, I know what to look for. One ship. Built for 1,000 capacity. That's more than enough to invade the Earth. Enough? Of what? Daleks.
Alert! Alert! We are detected. Commence planetary scan. Locate threat. Signal detected.
By now the Daleks know they've been caught. They'll come down and kill everyone in the base. What? Why? Because they can. They now know that there's someone on Earth that's a threat to them, and anyone that's a threat has to die. So we're gonna go to them.
Space-time vessel detected. Seek, locate, exterminate.
Stay here. No way. I'm not leaving you out there on your own. Wait, no. Now then, where do we begin?
You will surrender or be exterminated.
Yeah, that's not really much of a threat. You're gonna kill me anyway, me and everyone else on this planet. So, gonna have to try better, sunshine. No. Tell me about the plan, because harvesting humans, converting them into more Daleks. Why would you need to do that? What's the point of that?
This planet is forfeit. It will become New Scarrow.
So you would have to be real desperate to turn to something that's not Dalek. Oh. You're the only ones! You're the only Daleks in this big, wide universe. Doesn't that just fill you with fear? All alone.
Exterminate!
How did you do that? I didn't. Listen up, Daleks. Now I know what you're planning. I'm gonna tell you it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna destroy this virus that you've cooked up. I'm gonna save the Earth, and then, just to finish off, I'm going to wipe every single Dalek from this universe. Have a nice day.
Hostile action has been initiated. Begin invasion protocols.
Stopping this virus? Easy. Handy little sample. Of quite easy to just send a lovely little frequency out and do this. One destroyed virus, signed, sealed, and delivered. The Daleks don't belong in this universe. There must have been some sort of door, some sort of way that they snuck through into this one from their own universe. Okay, how? I don't know. Daleks, angels, it's been staring me in the face this whole time. For some time now, I don't know how long, there's been a doorway, a gap, a tear in the universe. Things have just been falling through for ages. How long, I don't know. How does that help us? But now I know we can do something about it. It'll be like a rubber band. The atoms that make them up, they're screaming, clamoring to return to their home universe. We just need to shut the door and they'll all be sent back. Brilliant! How? My ship. What? It's from the same universe as the Daleks. Must have fallen through around the same time they did. It's connected to all parts of space and time. If I set it to implode within the gap, then it'll close it. Send everything back. Won't that destroy the ship as well? And me. I'll need to pilot it in. The signal's weak, but it's there. Gap in the skin of reality. Wait, there has to be another way. If there is, there's not enough time to find it. Either I do this, or everyone dies. Well, old girl, it's been quite a ride. They'll be fine. Chances are they'll probably do quite well without me. One for the money, two for the show, three to go. Oh! I survived. The gap has been closed. There'll be scar tissue, of course, but for now, at least, it's sealed. There's always the chance that it'll reopen again. Time will tell, I suppose. Always does. And my ship is gone as well. It's reforming. It's using atoms from this universe. Maybe it's a part of this one. Ah, you clever old thing. It'll take time to reform, of course. So I guess, for now, I'm kind of stuck here. Well, I guess I best go find something to do.